Hello, everyone. Good afternoon and welcome to the Soul Food Book Club. I'm Teri Angel here with our beautiful family of readers. We have the amazing Charlie Coons.
Hello, everyone.
The awesome Linda Lemieux.
Hello.
The beautiful Auntie Jean.
Hi, everyone. Love you.
And the sweet and adorable Grace Isis.
Hello, invisible me.
Invisible you, but we feel you. We are here today, and Luz just joined us. Hi, Luz.
Hi, Luz.
We're here today reading The Way of the Shaman. Anybody want to show your book? Thank you, Charlie. And it's Michael Harner, the author. Kathy Hand saying hello from work. Hi, Kathy. Thank you all for joining us. This is, I believe, our second week on this book. Mm-hmm. And I don't know about you all, but I'm really enjoying the book myself. Mm-hmm. And shamanism right now is speaking to me. So this is really helping me to get into the energy. So I'm just going to open it up. Whatever anybody wants to start with for discussion, we will go from there.
You're probably in shaman country.
I believe I might be here in New Mexico.
Yeah. Yeah, I find it's very interesting. Quite a few things resonated with me, that all the earthly things and stuff, and and the things I did as a kid that goes. Like I'd take a twig or something and I'd break it and I'd take the stuff out of the middle and I'd eat it when I was a kid. Like, it was like crazy, it was like I was doing like stuff like that and not even knowing it, and then some of the drug things or whatever, when I was, young or whatever, I had some of them same experiences where, you will fly in or whatever, or, you'd freak out or whatever. And it was like, wow, it resonated with me. But the one that in chapter 3, I think it was, where you sit with a rock. I have a rock right here that I always, ground myself to and I sat with the rock and I'm like, and I did see, something on both sides of the rock. So it was like, wow, I can't believe it, there's designs, in all things, It was actually a rabbit. I seen a rabbit on both sides. So I don't know if that means that's my power animal or something, or, I don't know, but it resonated, Mm-hmm. So I think we all should find a rock and next time and tell us what we found in our rock.
Well, in the book, Pam Grout's book, is it E Squared or The Magic? One of those books, you're supposed to find a rock and keep it with you, keep it by your bed and let it talk to you. Rocks have energy. And as you were saying that, Charlie, I remembered about 35 years ago, I was in Massachusetts and I was driving on the highway. I forget what it's called now, something trail. And there was a stream that had big rocks. And I went out and sat right in the middle of that stream on a rock and had the most amazing experience with just feeling the energy of it and feeling what was in the air. It's true. The rocks do talk to you.
Yeah, it was. And if you look at it long enough, you're going to find something in there.
You'll find something in it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I sat there and looked, and then all of a sudden appeared. I was like, wow, a bunny rabbit.
Bunny rabbits. There you go.
And I was when I'd walk in the morning all the time, I'd see, I love seeing the rabbits, how they scurry around and
Yeah, me too.
and they don't go straight. They zig and zag.
They zigzag.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's so cool.
wow.
Monty,
and then the stillness still just, to hide or whatever,
Monty joined us. So say hello to Montserrat.
Hello.
Muncie.
It reminded
Yeah.
me of looking at a fire and seeing different shapes and different animals and different people. And that's very mesmerizing.
It is, Linda. Yeah. Monty's built a fire here the last few nights. And we sit and look at the flames and I took a couple of pictures because it was just amazing.
Yeah.
The energy. I love that. I love especially fire pits. Charlie has a big fire pit out back, and I've sat by the fire there at his fire pit and just watch those flames do their thing. They make all kinds of shapes.
Christine promised to build me a fire when I come.
She did, didn't she?
We will. And we got
Yeah.
special wood that I still got from Teri from
From
Los
California.
Angeles.
Yeah.
From
No, it was
California. We got some
California wood.
California wood.
from Paso Robles, from Roslyn. Yeah.
So you'll have to bring some Texas wood.
Texas wood and also
A little
marshmallows.
piece.
And marshmallows.
I've seen her car. I don't think I can bring a big log, maybe a little.
Well, Jean, I'm thinking we're going to have to unload the Angel Mobile and leave it at your house, all the inside of it, so we can fit you and the wood and suitcases in there.
That's true. That would be a good place to leave. This would be a good place to leave the stuff. Yeah.
Well, because I have to bring you back home.
Sure. Well,
That's if you
maybe.
ever come back home.
Eventually,
Maybe not. I might stay in Ireland.
eventually
I-
we'll come back.
I found so many, I don't know how to explain it, congruent or compatible things to what shamans do as to what we do in other modalities. For one thing, you know how they go, what they say, into the underworld? They go, when they're in their trances and they go into the different underworlds. I'm thinking about meditation. When I go deeply into meditation, I have always said I go into other dimensions, but I can see where it could be almost the same thing, just different words, different,
Yeah.
different name for the same thing, that you're crossing into other dimensions. And like Teri believes, I think, I don't want to say it if it's not true, that time is running concurrent. So
It is.
you're jumping from times, maybe, which I call dimensions, but they could be different time periods. So to me, it's similar. It's similar to what the shamans do. Even them talking about the spirit guide, our guardian spirit, and we talk about our guardian angel, and then they talk about the other guardian spirits, and we talk about the other angels. So to me, it's like it's all one thing. It's all one world. I'm finding it fascinating to see all these similarities and things, I don't know. Maybe I've always been seeing I see images in everything. My mind won't settle. I mean, I look at a carpet and I see a dog. I mean, I'm always seeing images and things. So, and I never ate the inside of a twig, but I used to eat dirt all the time. My mom used to get upset with me because I was always eating dirt.
Mud pies, Jean. Mud pies.
I just
Yeah, that's what we did.
anyway, but I'm finding it fascinating in that aspect. Yeah.
Yep, everything that you said, I relate to. I see the images in everything, even in clouds. You know, how many times have we looked up and saw an angel or a dragon or, you know, what a dog, whatever we see up there.
Well, it's crazy, you know, tile. I'll go to the doctor's office and there'll be tile on the floor, and I'll look down at it and I start seeing the images come out of the tile, you know.
Right.
Paint on the wall, everything. You just see images. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like when you're in that high frequency, things resonate with you that doesn't resonate with normal people.
Are you saying we're not?
No, it's.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I had my son and daughter-in-law here, and you know, they think I'm a kook, you know, and I said I'm just spiritually connected or whatever, and she goes, "Well, I always been spiritually connected." I'm like, okay, you know, it's hard to explain to someone where we're at. You know, it's, you know, they just don't seem to understand that, you know, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm like, this is who I am. And she goes, but you changed so much over the past 2 years. What is it? And I says, I had a spiritual awakening, you know, and they just don't seem to understand. They think I'm a cuckoo. Like that cuckoo clock that somebody got. Who's
got the
who got
Stacy?
That was Stacy that manifested her cuckoo clock.
Yeah. It's a Charlie clock, fella.
But you know what I'm sorry. What you said about you. I'm sorry, Linda. Go ahead.
You go. I'm fine.
Well, no, you go.
I was just going to say, it's like trying to explain what chocolate tastes like if someone had never had chocolate. And my nephew doesn't see colors, so it would be hard to explain what colors are if you've never seen them.
Yeah. That's a very good analogy, Linda.
It is.
Yeah.
But you know what your daughter-in-law said about always being spiritually connected, and she doesn't relate to you or whatever. That's one of the interesting things in the shaman book I found, is that if you're a high shaman never will tell somebody else that they're not connected, that they're not, they never criticize. They said if a shaman has ever told you that you don't understand, they're not a real shaman, or they're a very low beginning shaman, because they don't tell people. So she's not connected, or she wouldn't tell you that, you know. So I guess this is what I'm trying to say. She doesn't know what it means to be spiritually connected.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't know. Maybe she is, she isn't, but this is where I am, and I'm on my own highway.
And that's the important thing.
Staying in your lane, right, Charlie?
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was quite an interesting conversation at dinner.
I bet. I like that point to being connected, and I'd like to tie it into the book around page 40, 41, 42. They said that there's shamans all over the world in current groups, or groups that are hard to get to, say Africa or South America, but all of these groups have the same basic principles and the same methods of power and the same methods of healing. And they said that's because it works. But for all these groups to have all of the commonalities all over the world in different locations, to me they're connected to each other because they can do that. Or if you met one of those people, you would feel connected if you could do those things. So I just thought that was so interesting. It's not like some weird group in one place. It's groups that are connected.
Right. They just go on a journey in different ways.
Yeah.
To the underworld. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because that's what it's called. Journey starts on page 41. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
And also that they brought up that it's because they're removed from technology, you know, like we are. So they've kept these things alive through passing them on from one to another, just like what you said, that they work. And they might be a little tiny different in the different cultures, but they're basically the same thing. And they've kept it alive through this passing on from one to another. And they've remained the same. They haven't changed. I mean, our science changes all the time. I remember when I was little, when I was young, we only had 46 chromosomes, and now we have 48 or something like that. Things just change with science, but not theirs has remained steady, always, because there's no interference from the other parts of the world. Yeah.
True. And what I've noticed too is the shamans that I have encountered are all great storytellers. And I think that's because they retain that experience, everything that happens, they retain it so they can pass it on. And I loved the way in the very beginning of this book, when he was talking about his ayahuasca experience, the detail that he was able to remember and to share with us. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this reads like a novel or a movie or something. It's like you had all of those things happen. And it's just great to be able to read from somebody that writes this well and that can share with us something so eloquently like he does. I'm loving the writing. My phone is ringing.
And it's like, what do they call it? The drumming is like a horse or canoe. It's like the carrier that takes them into the underworld, into the SSC, which is a shaman state of consciousness. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Have you all connected with drumming in the past? I've always been intrigued with drumming my whole life, ever since I was a kid. And when I listen into the heartbeat of Gaia, that's what I hear. I hear a drum beat.
Mm-hmm.
So cool.
If you lay down on the ground, put your ear to the earth, you can hear a drumming. It's even more than that. It's a pulsing, that you feel a pulsing from her. Yeah. Which, if I told that to ordinary people, they would really call me nuts. But I mean, let's face it, we would all be witches in the ancient times.
Burned at the stake.
Yep.
No, they would call us witches. So the name doesn't mean anything, really.
With the drumming, I've done that, and you feel it inside your body. I mean, if it's a boom, reverberation, you don't just hear it with your ears. You're part of it because you feel it in the beating of it.
Yeah, I used to go to a full moon ceremony outside with a shaman, and they would have almost everybody would bring drums, and they would go behind you. Start like at the crown chakra, start drumming and go all the way down your body, and every chakra opens up. It's like an opening just like you were saying, Charlie, it's like a portal that you go into when you hear that heartbeat and that sound. It takes you in there. It's very healing.
Something, apparently a journey is something that you can't go on by yourself. From what I'm getting, you have to have someone drumming or using a rattle or something to help you on your way. Is everybody getting that, or is that just me? And then they stop so you'll come back.
You're talking about the journey to the underworld?
Yes.
Teen?
You know, when you go through the tunnel.
Yeah.
I think you have the drumming so you know when to come back. And you just don't stay there. But well, like when you meditate, you're by yourself.
That's true. That is
But like
true.
at night when I dream, I'm usually with somebody else. I'm transported. You know, I can fly or elevate myself off the ground, and it's so much fun.
Yeah.
Flying is great.
Yes.
Yeah. Or, you know, sometimes I go in outer space, you know, and just kind of cruise around and look at everything. And
Yeah.
sometimes I'm alone, but mostly I have people with me.
Yeah, I was reading that part too when I was kind of curious about that with the drumming. Like if you listen to a recording of it for, you know, 5 or 6 minutes and then it stops, then are you going to come back, or, you know, or does it take you 5 or 6 minutes to get into it, or, you know, I guess you just have to experiment with it. I don't know. I guess, you know, we're not going to become shamans just reading the book, you know?
Oh, no.
No.
Yeah, you know, it's just like, you know, see if it resonates and is that for you, you know?
Well, I was going to say, we may never become shaman. That may not be the aim. The aim is the education of what they do and why they do it and how it connects. We've been talking about how it connects with all the other things, the modalities that we're more familiar with. So,
right.
You know, I mean, it might reach somebody's heart to where they say, I need to be a shaman. The thing that impresses me is that the purpose of it is to help others, you know, to be of help.
Right.
Like those shamans and their tribes, they're very necessary. They're their medicine men. They're their go-to people, you know. In our society, there's not too many people standing on the corner looking for a shaman, you know. It's
right, looking for a witch doctor.
Looking for a witch doctor. So, you know, the whole thing about all the modalities to me is to be of service. It's to be of service.
That's so funny too, because the one guy at work, because I used to sell nutraceuticals, and he used to call me a witch doctor. So I had like all the shaman things, being called a witch doctor, you know. I had the experience with the hallucinogenics. I had, you know, eating the twigs, and, you know, it's just like all my life with 333. And I was 333 resonated with everything. And I knew where 333 in every city on Long Island was, you know, every town, county, whatever, you know. And I'd be driving in a truck, and I don't know why, but I knew where all the 333s in the towns were.
Pretty cool. We have a comment from Isabel. Hello, Isabel. She says, still today, Auntie Jean, these conversations with the majority of people very into a religion, no matter which one, will say these thoughts mean we are with evil forces. That's what evil does to people out of religious cults, weirdly seeking massively mind control. Yeah, it's like they don't understand it. And he addressed this in the very beginning of his book. He was talking about how people, you know, judge the shamans or anybody that does these rituals and that gets so into their way of life. And he says a step in the direction toward a solution of the problem may well be for more persons to become shamans so that they may experience the SSC for themselves and on their own terms. So he actually encourages us to study it. And, you know, if, like you said, if we're so drawn and we feel like that's in our path to do, then to follow that course and become shamans ourselves.
I think it's been all through history when people or a group don't understand something, they label it something negative rather than delve into it and see what it is. So I think that's part of it. But to me, we're really experiencing some of the essence of God and of nature and the way things are. And I don't think we're different. I think we're just seeing it through a different light, or actually, I think we're seeing it more because we have more experiences firsthand, maybe than a person. I'm not judging anybody, but I'm just saying if you're in church, to me, you're getting it secondhand. Although people have experiences in church too. So I better be careful what I'm saying. But I'm just saying it's too bad people automatically consider something they don't know or understand negative. And I maybe that's a human reaction. I don't know, for protection, you know. But it's anytime you hear that, you wonder if they think they're better, that makes us worse, or, you know, I'm referring to any differences of culture or color or anything. So I didn't mean to get off on a tangent.
Oh, no, I love that, Linda. I think it's so appropriate because you're right. You know, until you can, what do they say, walk a mile in somebody's shoes, you don't understand what they're doing or what they're feeling or the experience they're having. So, yeah, it's very appropriate to the conversation. And thank you. And Andrea's with us and says she's enjoying the conversation.
And I won't get into this too deep, but the country is really divided politically, and it's either you're with us or against us on both sides, you know. And it's getting, it's a shame it's getting that way. But people aren't taking the time to listen to each other, or when they're listening, to consider the other person could be right. You know, we need to look for the commonalities rather than the differences. The differences are easier to find sometimes. So can I read a passage from the book?
Oh, please.
Absolutely.
This is, we talked about science in shamanism, and this says, the one sentence here, Jean, is what you were saying. A true master shaman does not challenge the validity of anybody else's experiences. So I am not challenging the validity of being in church or anybody else's experience. I just think they should not judge ours either. So anyway, it says this is about science. The master shaman never says that what you experienced is a fantasy. That is one difference between shamanism and science. Yet there are similarities between the shaman and the scientist. The best of both are in awe of the complexity and magnificence of the universe and of nature, and realize that during their own lifetimes, they will only come to observe and understand a small portion of what is going on. Both shamans and scientists personally pursue research into the mysteries of the universe, and both believe the underlying causal processes of the universe are hidden from us in ordinary view. And neither master shamans nor master scientists allow the dogma of I can never say that word, ecclesiastical and political authorities to interfere with their explorations. So I just thought that was really interesting. You know, and my point is you can find similarities anywhere if you look. You know, some people think science and religion are totally different, but in this case, they show similarities.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, that reminds me of the teaching of Greg Braden, who is a scientist and who has made a lot of inroads in bringing science and spirituality together and showing, the similarities. So thank you for reading that passage. Yeah, Greg Braden is who I learned the heart-brain coherence from.
Oh,
Yeah, he works closely with Heart Math Institute in
I had
California.
to show everybody my shirt.
I love your shirts.
See?
Yeah.
See?
Very
This
nice.
is the one. There's always time
For
for
love,
love.
no matter what.
No matter what.
I think I got to order more
Yes, that looks
shirts.
better. I don't look so
That's
white. Okay.
that's a message that came through from Karen Palmer's dad to
Yes.
her before he passed. Yeah, she heard it
And
loud and clear. So we
what
have
was
the
the
shirt. There's always time for love, no matter what.
oh,
Yeah.
Thank you.
And so we have those shirts in the shop on Angel Speakers.
Mhm.
So this Michael Horner, he must be in his 80s
Mhm.
because
Oh, I'm not even
he's
sure
been
he's
practicing
still
this
alive.
since
I don't know.
1961. It says.
He's still alive.
Is
I'm
he?
not even sure. I'm not even sure he's still alive.
I'm not sure he is either. It's an
Oh.
old book.
Yeah, it's a very old book,
Oh, okay.
which is interesting that it's such an old book because ayahuasca has just been coming to the forefront in the last, decade or something like
Mhm.
that. Nobody really had heard about it in mainstream. It was all just part of the rituals that the shamans did and the indigenous did.
It's all a matter of keeping your mind open. It's what Linda's saying, is that you don't just, you explore things, you learn things. How can you make up your mind about things without doing that? And that's what people do. They just accept things that people say without doing research about them, or and that's what's so great about this book club is we're researching, and I'm learning so much. Look at Gracie. She's not new to shamanism. It's been around her whole life. And so she's very accepting about it. So,
Wow.
I don't know why in the United States it's become that people are so close-minded. I don't understand that. But I think some people, along with the peace, I'm seeing some people open up their minds to start giving credence to other cultures and other thoughts other than their own. And that's what we need so bad right now, so badly, because we have to come together as one family. We just have to.
He actually died on February 3rd.
Well,
That's
his death
tomorrow.
anniversary
Tomorrow.
and
Yeah.
what year?
2018.
2018. Yeah.
24 years ago tomorrow.
Was I
It
wrong?
no, it should be 4 years tomorrow.
4 years tomorrow. He was 88 years old when he passed.
88. Yeah.
Oh,
He lived
good
a
old
long life. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's coming through to us today.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And his spirit could have left his body today. Even though his official date of death, DOD, is tomorrow.
Is that right, Gracie? Were you more familiar with shamanism and everything?
Yes, I am. And I feel that why it's coming up now in the times. And by the way, thank you all for being here. Wonderful, wonderful. The reason why it's resonating and it's able to now boil up or come up to the surface is because of where we are in the evolution in the 21st century. And it's actually not that strange. It's just that there has been a lot of forward movement in the sciences, in just our evolution. But I bet you, if you go into the hinterland of America, you will find shamans. All it was is just spirit, still in its infancy of being not so marred by the journey, not so scarred by the journey. And some of us are now at that point where we are saying, okay, fine, I've experienced this, vibration, or this walking through the forest of the third dimension, and I have all these scratches. So let me let me go back now to the to the whole holistic view of the journey. That's how I perceive it. That's my perception. And I just wanted to say something as basically, it's just going back to the basics. We come in, shamanism is we come in with this knowing, and going back to this morning's cup of joy, Teri, we were talking about, and all of us who listened, we're talking about the beat, the drumming beat, the beat of the drum. And here we are, we're being kind of exposed to that it is better to go with somebody if you're going to take a shamanic journey. But if you, with what was said in the morning, do you know that beat, we have known it since our inception. It's the beat of the heart, our mother's beat, and when we were doing Teri, it was also in excavation, because I was there in meditation. And when we were going through that meditation, I actually started doing a which is a dance that
The rhythm, yes.
Yes, it's a rhythm, and you can actually see it with we do it too in the Kikuyu, but the Maasai, I'm sure you've seen the Maasai, the men who jump up. Sometimes it's like we're jumping up to God and we're coming back to the earth, and we come with a bounce and and we jump up, but we're making that rhythm. That's our rhythm. And the women, we have the pieces of around our neck, which really is it counts the number of years you've been on your journey. And we kind of thrust our chest, that it lifts those up, but there is the rhythm of even the Ethiopians. So what it is telling us, and why I feel this is such an appropriate time, and thank you for the choice of the book, is that we are going back to our cadence, our rhythm, which is God's rhythm, which is the rhythm of the earth. It connects us. And yes, it's funny because I just want to read a little snippet. The Kikuyus, which is my tribe, our house is a healing instrument. We look at the house as a machine of living in. And I think this author is telling us too that, when we go back to the basics, this our home is where we are, our house is where we are in tune with the shamanic aspects of our being. And I think it's wonderful. So yes, and I've just found my purpose, actually. Thanks, guys. It's trying to bring this into the forefront of the indigenous peoples. And I keep going back to the Native Americans. Teri was with them there in South Dakota. That was just amazing. And we all have it. It's just coming back to our basic essence. And we've just been shown by the stillness. The whole earth came to a stillness. Stop. Whatever you're doing, wherever you are, listen to the beat, the heartbeat of the earth connecting. You're connecting to the earth, to God through earth. You're the centerpiece. So thank you. This is a great book.
It is. Thank you, Gracie.
It was beautiful.
if I can digress a little bit, for example, the Kikuyu house, it used to be that in the joints, the corners, like, okay, so you look at the human body. So there's a description where the joints, which are the corners of the human body, are massaged in the house because it was made out of dirt, so you go to the corners and our joints become like the corners of the house, right? So what we would do, and I saw my grandfather do this, they would go and they would massage the joints, because remember, shamans are healers.
Mhm.
That's their main purpose. They have come in with the knowledge of understanding of this journey, and that's their gift. And so there would be they would make a paste with the earth taken from the four corners of the house, and they would put it on, because mud is a very good healer. They'd put it on the corners. And so the house in my tribe contains the soul, and the center of the house, and we do our houses in a circle, is the navel. And in India, this idea is still there of harmonic correspondence with the house. And it's similar also in China with the feng shui, right? So all this, and here we have it in the Gothic cathedrals. Look at the Gothic cathedrals. I guess that's why I took architecture. The layout is based on the anatomy of Christ on the cross, or spirit embodied in matter. So I feel that we're just coming back with shamanism is the basics. We look for shelter. However you make your shelter, it's a place for the spirit to commune. So thank you guys. Sorry to digress.
That's beautiful, Gracie. Yeah, great information there about the joints of the house. A lot of people place gemstones in the different corners of the house. It's like a grid that you make, a protective grid, and especially at the entryways, the doors, the windows. So yeah, there's a lot of information we can gain here about the rituals and the different things that take place that are just known. And not everybody knows them, but we're learning it. We're learning from each other. It's the beauty of a soul group. We learn from each other, and we learn from the books that we read. And this one is one of the more amazing ones, I think. It was interesting when we were first talking about doing this book, because we've done so many self-help books and books that made us, sit down and write out answers and do some deep reflection. But I think this one does it without saying, okay, now write an answer to this. It's like you go there just automatically because of the nature of what the book is about and what we're studying and reading. So I'm just absolutely loving it. And we are out of time for today. If anybody has anything left to share, then please speak up and share whatever it is you want before we get off the air.
I think we each get pearls of wisdom from the book according to our needs and where we are, and our kind of like our next step. What do we need to know to improve ourselves, to get better?
Yeah, Linda, it's like when the student is ready, the master will appear. And sometimes that master is a book that's been written, and there's a purpose for it being written. So yeah, you're so right. I love that. The pearls of wisdom from this book. That would be an interesting thing to just sit and ruminate about.
I'd like to thank Gracie.
I was just reading a couple of articles, and it said what Yogananda did for Hinduism and D.T. Suzuki did for Zen, Michael Horner done for shamanism. Nearly bring the tradition and its richness to the Western awareness. That was said by Roger Walsh and Charles Grubb. So I guess he was the foremost expert on, shamanism from from a white person's anthropologist. He wasn't an Indian. He was. He wasn't like born into it. He studied it. He was the foremost person studying. And he did it for over 60 years. I mean, he wrote the book in 80. It was 1980, and by then he was already doing it for 20 years. And he lived another 18 years, so 58 years, whatever. Yeah, so he had a lot of experience with shamanism, that's for sure.
Jean, what did you want to say?
Oh, well, first of all, I want to say I think part of the book's story is telling us we all have that within us. We have that as part of our legacy, and we're just now finding it. But I wanted to thank Gracie because she makes it come alive for me, because she has so much firsthand experience. I mean, her people have kept it alive in their culture. And so it means so much to me when she makes her personal comments. And I just wanted her to know that.
Yes.
You want to
We're very blessed to have her as part of our group.
I agree so much. And I'm hoping she'll contribute more next week, about her experiences and her background.
Yes, I will. And I am so grateful that you are all open to these meanderings. And this book is wonderful. And I feel that all of us are ready. And like as Teri always tells us, when the student is ready, the master will come. You're all ready for this understanding and this stirring, because really it is your essence too. And in the book, then I'll finish up. There is a part where he's talking about the SSC, which is the shamanic
state of consciousness.
State of consciousness, exactly. And he says, when you're in that state of experience, it's like dreams, but waking ones that feel real, and in which the person who is on the SSC can control his actions and direct his adventures, which we all could say is our dream state. While in this state, he is often amazed by the reality of that which is presented. He gains access to a whole new world, and yet, this is the takeaway, and yet familiarly ancient universe. Familiar.
I love that.
Familiarly
Ancient.
ancient.
Wow.
Yes. That provides him with profound information about the meaning of his own life and death and his place within the totality of all existence. So that's what we're always constantly learning. We're learning about ourselves, and I think it's amazing. And one of my manifestations, and I'm still working on my manifestation board
Good.
is to see us one day go to Lalibela. Lalibela is in Ethiopia. And what it is, it's secret. It's churches. There are, I think, 7 churches that are carved under the earth. So if you want to look it up, it's Lalibela, Laileb, Lalibela, and an A. And it's where they do say that the covenant is housed. And they always have a big ceremony in February. So, as the book was saying, the rocks, we're just being told to come back to nature, come back to our real essence, because this is the developed world. So thank you. And thank you so much for just allowing me to come out and give to all of you. Thank you.
We're so blessed to have you, Grace. And Luz agrees. She says, I feel the same way, Grace. Experience. Thank you. Andrea says, thank you and blessings to you all. And as you were talking, Gracie, I looked out the window here, right where I'm sitting, and there's a tree, a little tree right outside the window, and there's frozen icicles on the branches. And I love that. It reminds me of when I was in my first semester in school, and that was something that really intrigued me. As I would be walking to college, and it was very, very cold, and I think I probably fell down quite a bit, but the beauty of that, just seeing a branch with icicles hanging from it, and the snow's beginning to collect on the branches as well. There's just something about that beauty. And I think that's what any of these teachers, any of these great spiritual beings help us to see the beauty in everything, the beauty outside and the beauty inside, and how that outside beauty is reflected on our inside. And that's what we're seeing now. That's what we're experiencing with delving more into shamanism, into connecting with the earth energy and feeling so grounded into the earth. So just a beautiful experience today all the way around. And I appreciate all of you and your input. And Isabel says, thank you, Grace. We are all in such awe and admiration of you, Grace Isis. Thank you for being here. Thank you, every one of you, for being here to speak up and to enjoy this book together. And those that are normally here that aren't, Mary Lou, Christina, we miss you. And hopefully you'll be watching this on the replay, and we'll be back with us next week. We're here every week, Wednesdays at 1 o'clock Eastern time. So come join us, jump in the Zoom room with us and sit and have one of these conversations. Thank you so much for being here. We leave you all with Namaste, y'all.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day. Bye, everybody. We love you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.